Hey, so welcome to the August 1st Wild and Free Tribe team call. We're just doing a little summit takeaway wrap up and then also setting a plan in motion. Ooh, that reminds me, I forgot my notebook upstairs. Let me go grab that really fast. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves in the chat. Oh my gosh. Okay, so hey Sarah. This was my notebook that I used for Summit for the very first time last year. And then I've used it for multiple things after that. Starting to come apart a little bit. I've used it for when we went on the Diamond Retreat, all the stuff that I learned there, to put hopes and dreams in as they come to me, just to kind of have them all in one spot. And now I'm winded from running up and down the stairs. And then I used it for Summit, and I'm like really getting close to the end. Oh, have mercy, I'm really getting close to the end. So I only have a few pages left. But this is something that like I used last year, and then I put it in my purse on the airport, like to be able to read it in the airplane on the way home from Florida in November. And I literally have not been able to find it since. For the last several months, I've been like searching all over the place for it. And a few weeks ago, I finally went shopping by myself for dresses and stuff at Summit. And I used my purse because we usually use just a little backpack for the kids. And I found it. And so I was so excited to have it right before Summit this year. But I did a few things, and I want to share them with you as far as implementation from last year. But first, I wanted to make a few announcements. If you were at Summit, you already know these. Core de Force is the brand new program that's getting ready to come out. Oh my gosh, my kids have been wild and crazy. Raise your hand if your kids have been nuts today. Like, have mercy. They've been all sorts of crazy. Core de Force is the brand new program coming out in November, which is very different. Usually it comes out, we have a new program launch at the beginning of December. This year they're giving us, it's with Joel and Jericho, so the new trainers that came on from Les Mills Pump. Some people call Les Mills, but I believe it's Les Mills. Les Mills Pump, and that whole line, Combat, all of that. Now that we no longer have a partnership with Les Mills, they came over to be super trainers, and we knew a new program was coming out. We just didn't know when. So they will be launching their program, which is Mixed Martial Arts-esque program, in November. And the really cool thing about this is that we have a 1-month exclusive. That means Beachbody won't be sharing it on infomercials. They won't be sharing it on the Beachbody website. Like if you go to beachbody.com, you guys know that that's different than Team Beachbody, right? We're Team Beachbody. So if they go to Team Beachbody, they'll get signed up and have a coach. If they go to beachbody.com, it's like buying it from an infomercial. So it will not be on beachbody.com. The only way they'll be able to get it is through coaches. So that's a really neat opportunity during the holidays, when it's typically a slower time anyway, November, December, to kind of maximize on that. There's lots and lots of people that like mixed martial arts style workouts, especially guys. So that may be a really great area to tap into. Also, we have challenge pack sales that are insane. Did you guys see today? I posted them in our team page, and not only are there 15 challenge packs, but they're on sale for like August, September, October, and some of them partially through November. So that's pretty incredible. We've never had this many on sale at one time since I've been a coach. I don't know if we've ever had this many on sale at one time. I think Carl's just really trying to get a massive push going through the fall. And so huge sales. And then in September, we're starting the Health Bet. which I'll be sharing more details about this on our team page. But basically what it is for every challenge pack that's sold from today on, they're giving $5 extra into this pot, right? They're putting $1 million into a pot, and then they'll do $5 extra for every challenge pack that's sold between now and, I want to say it's September 1st. Does anybody have the date written on that? I believe it was September 1st, but I can check that for you to make sure. And it's up to $3 million. So $5 for every challenge pack sold, up to a total of $3 million in this pot. And then for everybody who registers and does this health bet, it's free to join, free to be a part of. So this is for all your challengers. It's for all coaches. It's for everyone. It's not limited in any way. But if they are on the Challenge Tracker app, because this is the way they're measuring if they're doing it or not, you have to run in a group on the app, and they have to log at least 3 workouts a week and at least 5 Shakeologies a week. So obviously they have to have Shakeology, they have to have a program. So, and then they have to be doing something during the entire month of September. And then they are going to split it with everyone who does that. So depending on how many participate and how many challenge packs are sold, depends on the number of free cash money they get. But even if it's $5 back, that's pretty incredible. If it's $50, if it's $100, I mean, it just kind of depends. But that's pretty amazing. Erin, did you have something to say? I don't know.
Here for the $5 challenge pack sold through August.
Yeah.
So it's going into August.
Right. The challenge pack sales are through August. The bet starts in September, and then it goes through the month of September. So the $5 per challenge pack is only for August challenge pack sales. Okay, so we have that coming up. Challenge pack, Team Cup, tonight's the last night. You have until 12 o'clock midnight on Eastern Standard Time. If you're not already in a Team Cup, get on one. Even if you are like, I don't even know what that is, it doesn't even matter. Like, get on a Team Cup, and you can, oh, have mercy. I'm going to have to take this watch off. Too many notifications today. Get on a Team Cup, because it's the only way that you'll earn any kind of prize, and it's not going to hurt you. It can only help you. So if you have a personally sponsored coach and they're not on a Team Cup yet, like, make sure you're reaching out to them and getting them involved in Team Cup. They have a few more hours left to register. Let's see, that's 3 hours left to register. So we have Team Cup this month. And I'm not going to go over the points and how you do all of that stuff. I'm going to leave it to the team leaders. If there are Team Cup leaders that don't understand all of that stuff, I will point you to the FAQ on how to do that. And if you still have questions, you're welcome to ask me. Quarter Force, am I missing any other big announcements for the fall? 21-day yoga retreat. That is going to, it's stripping everything away from yoga, all the weirdness, all the religious ties, all of that stuff. And it's only going to be made available on Beachbody On Demand. And it is a 21-day starting from zero kind of program with incredible cueing. Like, they said that if somebody was blind, they should be able to listen to the instructions and still understand how to do the pose. So really taking it from the basics and working your way up so that you would feel comfortable doing yoga in a group fitness setting. I think this is going to be a really great opportunity for all those people who have wanted to try yoga or have been interested, but have somehow either felt intimidated or have been weirded out about the religious aspect of it. I've had tons of people ask me about the, like, you're Christian, how are you doing this? Blah, blah, blah. I have no idea. So yeah, anyway, that's going to be really great. And then the last thing that's fantastic and is airing in just a couple weeks is Fixate, the cooking show for the Portion Fix on Beachbody On Demand. This is going to be incredible because think about this. Every challenge pack comes with a 30-day trial of Beachbody On Demand. The way to keep them from getting rid of it is to show them the value of it. Not everybody wants to use it for their workouts. However, once you start saying, okay, during your prep week, for example, go on to Beachbody On Demand, log in, and watch this video. Like there's going to be a video for cleaning out your pantry. I heard about that and I thought, that's incredible. It's going to be awesome. So I'm going to use that in my prep week, probably on day 4 when we talk about excuses and stuff like that, and then get them prepared for meal planning on Friday. So using some of those, hi Grace, using some of those videos, hey Isaac, how are you? Using some of those videos on like in your challenge groups and having them go and reference those videos are going to be incredible. And then they'll see the incredible value. I think they said 1 a week. I can't remember. I think they said 1 recipe a week will be coming out through the end of the year. So that means that you could also say, you know, link that into your challenge groups as well. Like, hey, this recipe, I tried it out today and it's fantastic. Go try it for yourself. You can download it. And then you can even explain about the Beachbody On Demand app if they have an Apple product, so they can like iPhone, tablet, any of that, they can like download it onto their phone or their tablet and then set their phone or tablet up in the kitchen and follow along, which is really, really neat. And it gives container counts and all of that stuff, which is incredible. So, and then there's also the show, the 20s, where they're looking for the new Beachbody super trainer. They will be bringing in all the other super trainers. And it's basically like, if you've ever seen the challenge on MTV, yes, I watch like crappy reality TV, okay? So if you've ever seen that, it's basically that with fitness is what it sounds like to me. So I'll probably watch a few of those and we'll see what happens. But it'll also be, and I didn't realize this, it'll also be airing on Pop TV, which if I'm not incorrect, I believe is the same channel. I don't have cable, but I believe it's the same channel that airs like Beachbody, or not Beachbody, Big Brother After Dark. Like, I don't know, it airs other bigger things too. So that'll increase our audience, which is kind of cool. All right, moving on to top takeaways. I figured I'd just open it up to you guys to share your top. I don't want to share like everything that happened, but maybe like your top thing that you walked away saying, have mercy, I have to do this. My life has changed because of it. Or my business has changed, or my practices have changed because of this. So I'm going to open it up and let whoever go first that wants to. It looks like Danny has something.
There, my internet's spotty, so part of me wants to go first just in case it blacks out. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. No, I got a lot of really good stuff. I'm sure everybody will say that. It was amazing. I'm really glad that I went. But I think like I have a bunch of practical stuff written down on my paper, and I got to work on it today. But I think the biggest thing that I got from Summit was a new why. And I really only talked to Lisa and Josh about this, and it was the first night. I walked away from the opening ceremony going, I don't know if I want to be a part of some of this. I was really stressed out about distributing passions in my life, and because I'm an all or nothing kind of gal. I don't want to talk about that a ton because that's super negative stuff. But anyway, it was literally the last day and the last session, and I'm listening to Scotty Hobbs tell kind of his story, and he only talked for a little bit because his success partner, who happens to be, I have to say his name right. I was going to call him Saggy, but it's not because that was a joke. So, thank you, Saggy. Saggy's wife.
Barbie Cologne.
Yes, she's super chatty, would not stop talking. But Scotty was just kind of talking about his why and the day he decided to give this his all, because he wanted to bring his wife home from work so that she could be home with the kids instead of working tons of hours. And then he talked about seeing his daughter. I might cry, I'm sorry. He's talked about seeing his daughter get off a school bus and the joy that she had when she saw her dad. And he said, I couldn't think, he's like, I just was like, how many of these moments have I missed? And I don't want to ever miss any of these other moments. And for those of you who know or don't know, my husband is in school right now, full time at seminary, because he wants to teach. Like, he wants to go, and he's so good at it. He's like crazy passionate and crazy smart, and he needs to be able to do this. But he's been crazy stressed out because schools aren't offering tenured positions, because financially it doesn't make sense for them to bring on professors. And so he's been really, like, I don't know how this is going to work out. How is this going to pan out? Like, whether or not we're going to make enough money for me to do this, and all these school loans. And so anyway, it was literally the last day listening to Scotty Hobbs, and all of a sudden I couldn't hear anything else anybody was saying, because I felt it kind of just anchor deep down inside of me, where I was like, I want to give this my all so that my husband can go teach wherever he wants to, and he doesn't have to worry about money. Like, my husband should not have to worry about the financial aspect of things to fulfill the call of God on his life. And so that just meant there was a complete shift in my mentality. Like, I had to, that's part of the reason why I left Summit, so I could just go get by myself. And I went to a restaurant and I started writing stuff down and kind of pondering on that. And I came home and, of course, I'm like a word vomit of like a fountain, telling my husband everything that I got. And I was like, hey, by the way, I need to tell you something. And I lost it. I just started crying in the car, and I started telling him this story. And so he's looking at me. He goes, I was going to tell you this week that I was going to not get my PhD, because I didn't want the money aspect of this to ruin our family. He was like, I was reading about marriages that have been destroyed just recently because of the stats. He's like, I was reading about how there are no positions. He goes, and I was like, God, I'm just going to tell her I'm not going to do it. So anyway, it just seemed so crazy how that worked out. And it was confirmation that the Lord was saying, here you go, do this all the way. And so I have this crazy fire underneath me, and I'm like, I'm going to give this everything. So Lisa, that's the end of the story that you heard starting on Thursday night. But that's it. That was my biggest takeaway from Summit.
That just gave me goosebumps. And like, for real, you guys probably can't see them, but there's goosebumps all up and down my arms. But for real, I'm going to share this with everybody if you're okay with it, Danny. But not that you know what I'm about to say, but we were sitting at the restaurant, and, we're all sharing a little bit about our whys and why we're coaching. And there's this saying in Beachbody, and it's that the pageant why is the easy why that we always give. It's like, because I want to help people and do financial freedom for my family, or something along those lines. And I think that's for all of us, that's pretty much it. Like, I want to stay accountable to my health and fitness goals. I want to help others do the same, and financial freedom. Okay. But, and this is what happened to me as well when I was at the Diamond Retreat in November. And that's why I had to take my notebook on the plane with me. What was because they say that your why isn't your true why unless it makes you cry. So it's not your true why unless it makes you cry. So we had an exercise where we sat down and we did all of this. And then we shared with the group, and all of us, every single one of us, cried our eyes out while we were doing it, because it needs to connect to your heartstrings. It needs to go deep down into your personal life and the goals and visions. In my mind, Becca didn't say this, but for our team, the goals and visions that God's given you, like, it needs to be connected to that, or it's likely not going to have staying power. When times get hard, it's easy to say, we lived without this extra income before, we'll live without it again, or, it was fun to help some people, but, now I just need to focus on my family. But once it connects to like a God-given dream, or a dream that's like deep-seated into your heart, then it becomes a real why, because you're going to fight tooth and nail for that goal, that dream. And so while we were sitting at the restaurant, and Danny, you shared, I was listening, and it wasn't that I didn't believe you. I believe everybody when they say they want to help people and they want financial freedom. But I was like, there's more. There has to be more, or it's not worth it. Does that make sense? And I feel like as we went around the table, it got like heavier and heavier and heavier. And that's because, we built that trust, we built that bond, and the little bit that everybody opens up, everybody else feels free to do so. So that was like one of my favorite moments of Summit, was sitting there at that table. I know it was like a couple hours, and maybe you guys weren't expecting it to go that long. I know I wasn't necessarily, but have mercy. Like it was incredible. I love that. So thank you for sharing that, Danny. Would anybody else like to share their takeaway? It doesn't have to be your why. It doesn't have to make you cry. It can be, even just a simple business practice that you were like, have mercy. How have I not thought about that before? Sarah. Oh, it's your maiden name, right? No, who is this? It is your maiden name. I'm so confused. You're muted. You're muted, girl.
Okay. I did it on my phone. I got the app because we don't have internet at our place.
Yeah.
And then we came and stayed at my parents', so I could have brought my computer, but whatever. Has nothing to do with it. But I was like wrecked after the challenge group session. Like, I know it wasn't really called that, but I think that it just really wrecked me because I was like, well, dang, like I'm doing this because like I want to help like support our family, and I want to be successful, and I want to see like my husband not have to worry about working and give his heart to our church. But I know that I wasn't putting into it what I needed to like be successful. Just because like a lot of that stuff, and I was with Rachel and Beth, and I started crying, and I was like, I don't give enough to like I don't, because, and I struggle because I don't want to like be hard on myself. But there was definitely moments where I was just kind of like not focusing on the transformation and just focusing on the Success Club point. Like it's really easy to just copy and paste and say that like you talked to your challenge group that day.
Yeah.
But I want to be like invested in them, and I want to be able to be like, okay, like I'm going to check in the morning, and I'm going to check in in the evening, and I'm going to make sure that I'm, that I'm really investing in them and giving them time. So I really just loved the idea of just changing it up and like making sure that like everyone has their stats. And it was super cool because we implemented that today, and I didn't get to ask any of our coaches. I've already gotten 3 transformation photos today.
Wow, that's awesome.
And it was really cool. And it was cool to see like how invested they were in wanting to be in a challenge group, like seeing the other side of them, like also fighting for their transformation. But you wouldn't know that if you didn't keep them accountable. And so I feel like it's just really cool to see like how, like it just really kicked me in the butt. Like I don't even know how else to explain it. Like I was sitting there and I felt like a little kid, like, oh my gosh, like what am I doing? But it was really, really cool. And I feel like that really, that was like the first thing that I was like, I need to do this like today. So like I got up and I sent everybody in our team page a video, and I was like, so here's what we're going to do now. And so yeah, that was probably my biggest takeaway.
I love that you took action immediately. I'm taking notes just so later on when you're not feeling the summit high, if you're like, why am I here? I'm going to have notes to like point you right back to it. So, oh my gosh, everybody look at Ellie trying to stand and walk by herself. Sorry. But I love that you took action immediately and shared that passion and vision with the team. That's what sets you apart as a leader. So good job with that. Okay, somebody said that they'll go after Sarah. Let me see. Katie. Katie, are you ready? Maybe we'll come back to Katie. Wait, is she ready? I can't tell. Okay, we'll come back to Katie. How about Jen?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Katie messaged, how do I unmute? She's trying to get on, I guess. She says, how do I unmute?
I think you have to swipe to the side where it says something about chat. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've done it for my phone.
She's on an iPad, it looks like.
Yeah, iPad and phone should be the same, though. Is that not working? Like swipe, swipe, swipe all the way to the left. Okay, Jen, why don't you go while Katie tries to figure it out, though?
Okay. Okay, it's hard to follow those two gals because they're like such passion inside them. So I guess my biggest takeaway what I was going to say doesn't have anything to do with a change in my opinion. I do feel like I just left with like a bigger purpose and just more inspired and motivated, and it was just awesome. But I guess I was going to talk about something I learned like to do differently in my challenge groups.
Yeah.
So one of the workshops, they talked about encouraging interaction in the challenge group, and they said that they pair up their challengers into success buddies or success partners, kind of like we do as coaches. And I thought that was a cool idea. And they gave it as an option to the challengers to just kind of say, hey, if anybody wants like a little extra push or a little extra encouragement, like pair up into success buddies or success partners. And usually people are like, hey, so-and-so, I'll be your partner. And it just kind of like builds, you know, it kind of starts them out on that path that like what we do as coaches. I thought that was really cool and a great idea. And to just make it more fun in the group, like have theme days or challenge days, like, you know, who can hold a plank for the longest or, you know, the most push-ups, and just kind of like have challenge days every so often. Recognition Fridays where like you do a shout out to a challenger in your group and recognize them. So like a lot of things that we do like in the coaching community, but like implementing it into your challenge groups. Sharing like in your challenge groups, like your highlight an ingredient in Shakeology. We're talking about the performance line on demand, just kind of like more tools and resources that are available, you know. Anyways, I just thought the Success Buddies was kind of a cool thing. So I took so many notes. It was hard to pick one takeaway. So I just thought that was kind of cool.
That's awesome. No, that's good. And I love that everybody's been doing live videos. Like I came home and between yesterday and today, I've watched, I don't even know how many live videos. To be honest, I watched probably about halfway through on most of them. And then I'm like, okay, I need to move on. Like, because it would take me forever to listen to everybody's live videos. But I'm loving like the confidence that you guys are putting out there and just sharing from the heart and with purpose. So that's awesome. Katie, are you ready? Did you figure it out?
I did.
Okay. Yay.
Yay. I had to go on my settings and change something. So I did a live video before this. I don't know who watched it, so I might be a little repetitive. But really, I think the neatest day for me was Saturday, when everything kind of just came together and it wasn't all just about like Beachbody and challenge packs and, you know, getting people to stick with their Shakeology orders. And Ellie's in her bath, so that's why I keep looking that way. It was more about like, you know, bettering yourself so that you can actually reach out to people and have a positive impact instead of just, you know, not ever working on yourself. Then, you know, you get somebody to join, but you don't really get the chance to make an impact in their life. And I was driving home on Sunday and I kept you know, I was driving, so I obviously couldn't write the stuff down in my notebook, but I would get like these ideas and like all these thoughts came. So I like turned the radio down and I recorded myself on my phone so I could look back at it later. And the lady that I heard speak on Saturday was talking about finding like that one person. She had us pull the picture on our phone with somebody who inspires us. So I picked Ellie, and it kind of, I mean, of course it goes in with my why, but then she said something totally not Beachbody related that was like so cool to me. She was like, who, that last person that holds your hand, like at the very end before you die, what words do you want them to use to describe you to somebody who's never met you? And like, what kind of impact do you want to leave on the world? She talked about not just like some small impact where you like draw a line in the sand and things get rough and the waves come along and just like wash it away. She compared it to like going like, mud riding and making like big deep ruts and how like those stick around. So that was really cool because it just made me think about how I want, you know, the things that I want this business to do for me, but also, you know, I like took a look at myself and I'm like, she had us pick like 3 to 5 words to speak out like over our life, not, and she had us like, she wanted us to describe it like, not saying like, oh, I wish, you know, Ellie would describe me as like a strong person later on in life. You're supposed to say like, you guys still see me?
Yeah.
My battery was dying, so it was letting me know. You're supposed to come up with these statements and read them out every day for a year. Stuff like, Ellie, you know, will describe me as a strong mom, and I am an inspirational coach when I'm running challenge groups and people are seeing great results, but they're also growing as a person. So like you speak it out like it's already happening. And she was saying these things about herself before, you know, before any of it even happened. And that was just really cool because up until this point, I was like, oh, you know, that would be really neat if I was like a 2-star diamond and I had really strong people underneath me and they were able to, you know, make really positive changes in their life. So just kind of changing my thinking, not comparing myself to other people, and how Gary Vee said that a lot of us aren't successful because we're not patient enough. That really hit home because I'm super impatient, you know, and I want to see results. And it was just really cool because it's not just about Beachbody for me. It's like results in all areas of my life. You know, I start doing stuff, and if I don't see results in like 3 days or like a week, I'm like, oh, this isn't working. So I'm just going to be more intentional about being patient, because the good stuff, I know, the good stuff isn't going to happen overnight. So that was just really cool how for me the whole weekend was like a little bit about Beachbody, but for me it was so much more. So that was really neat. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. I totally agree. I remember walking away last year and this year as well and thinking like, have mercy, this overflows into pretty much every area of my life. And I think that's partially why they choose the keynote speakers that they do, is because they're not just in the Beachbody world. Because then it would be easy to say like, oh, all of this only kind of pertains to Beachbody, but it doesn't. It's about, you know, changing your entire life around emotionally, in our case spiritually as well. And I just wanted to add on to your thing about positive affirmations, Katie, is that you said Ellie will see me as a strong. When you're saying it, you don't even say it saying will, because that's in the future. You say it in the present. Ellie sees me as a strong woman. Does that make sense? And saying it over and over, and it sounds crazy, but saying it out loud makes a big difference. And here's the thing. When I first heard about positive affirmations, I was like, that sounds like weird voodoo crap. Like, I hated it. I was like, that is the weirdest thing I've ever heard of in my life. But over the last year or so, I've really thought about, I mean, for years now, I've studied a lot of James. For those who have known me for a long time, you know that I've had a hard time, like, I have a hard time holding my tongue. Jesus works through me and that, right? Like, I just, in ministry and in missions, I've really had to learn about language and holding my tongue and using my words wisely. And all that to say that the Bible, if you really want to look into this specifically, the Bible has a lot to say about this in both Proverbs and in James, about the power that your words hold in your life. And excuse me, I'm not trying to get all mumbo jumbo-y, like weird, because I thought that was really weird. And if I could, I would show you the bottom of my iMac right now. It's lined with little sticky notes, like this size. They're not huge. Little sticky notes that have like positive affirmations across them, because when I'm having really crappy days, I look up and I say them out loud, because the Bible says that there's power in our words. Like if God cared enough to change Abram's name to Abraham, so that every time Sarah said, "Abraham, would you like some coffee?" she was saying, "Father of many nations, would you like some coffee?" Like she was literally speaking it over his life every day, constantly. If he cared enough about that, then he cares about the words that we speak. And it does. It shapes our mind. It shapes the way we see things. It's science. There's lots of science behind it as far as like neuropaths and all this other stuff. I'm not going to go into it. You can study it for yourself. But I do believe that affirmations are biblical and that they do work, and that they're positive. Like, well, either positive or negative. You can say, "I'll never do that," or "I'll never blah, blah, blah." The last year or so, Josh and I have talked a lot about having a poverty mindset and how like it comes out in your words. And you say things like, "It would be nice if we could afford," or "We'll never be able to afford," or "We don't have the money for that." Like saying those things out loud constantly just reaffirms that belief in your mind. And you're right. You'll never get out of it if you keep saying that. So anyway, all that to go. Ooh, yes. Exactly. Peter's name was changed by Jesus too. So there's so many like instances in the Bible, but you can do a whole study on this. I do believe it's biblical, but speak them not even in the future, not as a wish or a hope or a dream. Speak them as though they were real. Like speak it as if it were so. Amen to that. Saying it as though it were so. Okay. Somebody said they wanted to go after Jen. That was Rachel. Rachel, would you like to go?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. I had several takeaways as well. It was hard to pick just a couple, but one of the things that I really liked hearing was to don't hide behind my phone. Don't just try using Facebook. And me being the shyer person that I am, I feel like that's what I do. I try to use Facebook and my phone to talk with people. So I'm going to try my best to not do that anymore and hide behind my phone. And then also, this isn't really, I guess, summit related, but I really enjoyed the dinner that we had with everybody. I thought hearing everybody's whys and getting to know, I think that was what I liked best about Summit. I mean, I liked Summit a lot, but I liked getting together and talking as a team, because since I know Jen, but I didn't really know anybody else, not even really you, Lisa. And so it was really good to hear everybody's why and see the emotions and why everybody was coming, like, why we're getting together and doing the same thing. I don't know if that makes any sense, but but it was really good for me to be able to hang out with everybody and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I'm reading the chat as well. But the funny thing is that, Rachel says that she's the shy one, but she's the one who's always also pushing herself out of her comfort zone. So I've seen her stand up in front of a room of 200 plus people and share her story. And so anybody who is willing to do that, like a few months into coaching, can't be that shy. So not hiding behind your phone, I think that'll be really great. Like, be genuine, do some live videos, share from the heart. People who know you and love you won't care, and the people who care don't matter. So I love that. Okay, anybody else? Did I miss somebody else that said that they wanted to share? It was me. Catherine, where are you? There you are. You're muted, I believe. Yeah, I see you. You're muted.
I see that hand.
Okay, can everyone hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're like, hello. Yes, I see you.
Hello, friends.
Go ahead.
So, Summit was exactly what I needed. So, I've had a rough last 2 months as far as like getting new challengers and everything, and it was pretty discouraging. I hadn't taken anybody new on or gotten any new challengers in almost 2 months when I went to Summit. So I was really like reevaluating everything. You know, I was doubting myself. I was having serious, confidence issues just with the whole thing, because when you're still doing your vitals every single day and sacrificing that family time and, staying up late to make it happen, and then you're still not getting anything back, you have to like sit back and like say, what am I doing wrong? Or is this not meant to be? Like, I don't know. So, and I didn't really tell Sarah this because I didn't want to freak her out, because at the beginning of the summer I told her I really wanted to be her first diamond coach. So I didn't want to like tell her I was doubting myself so much, but I was honestly like really praying about if this is what I was supposed to like continue on doing. I didn't know if this was like just me, God telling me that I wasn't supposed to do it anymore. So I went there praying, and then I was praying about it more and more and just thinking how like, man, but I really love this. Like, I really, really love this, how God had brought this all into my life, and it had been such a great thing for me. And then I think his name is pronounced Gary V. Am I saying that right, Lisa?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can just call him V.
Okay. So I had never heard of him before, and he was speaking in one of our general sessions. And apparently he's like a really, really big deal and like predicts different things that are going to be big. And anyways, he just like kicked me in the freaking butt. What he said about how like people don't have enough patience, and he said most of you, he like looked out into the crowd, and he was just straight up, he was like a hard butt. He was just like, most of you will not be successful because you do not have, or you lack the patience to build your business. You lack the patience. And I remember reading about that in The Compound Effect, how like he was saying that like business people, the ones that end up being really successful, are the ones that are willing to push past all their failures and like learn from them. And so that was like, wow. Yeah, so that's me. I'm trying to find, here are my notes. And then he said to want something big and not put in the work doesn't exist, and most of you are not willing to lose. I was like, wow. So I, for the first time last month, did not make enough to pay for Shakeology. And that was like a big deal to me. And we don't have the money for that right now. So I don't want to start, I can't like give up a payment for something for Shakeology. That's just not fair to my husband. You know what I mean? Like, so, but on the other hand, like I have to work hard enough to make that happen. So, and then he was saying all this stuff about one takeaway that I got from him is he's saying like Facebook ads are really, really big. I know absolutely nothing about Facebook ads, zero, but I'm going to. And he was like saying all these things about, we're whining today because, oh, we don't know how to do this and you don't know how to do this. He's like, let me write down this link for me. And he's like, Google. Google it. And it's like, our generation has it so easy. We can figure out anything. All we have to do is look it up and like actually search for it. And that goes along with another workshop that I was at where they were like, be resourceful. Like you have so many resources, YouTube, how-tos, like so many things. So I have already, like on my way home from Summit, I couldn't like write down and work on anything because I was driving, that I almost like maxed out the memory on my phone again because I was making voice messages of myself, telling myself what I'm going to do. So for my PD, I'm like listening to myself kick my own butt. So it's kind of whatever, it works. So yeah. And he said, And with those Facebook ads, he's like, I don't really want you all, 22,000 people to go do this because it's going to drive up the demand and drive up the price of Facebook ads. But I'm fine with that because I know that 99% of you are sitting here listening to me and won't actually do it. And then what came to my mind first was, am I going to be the 1% who has that advantage? So I'm definitely going to look into that. That's on my plan. So he was the one who kicked me in the butt. So, and the other thing that really impacted me is during the second general session, I was kind of having my own personal conversation with God through one of the speakers. And I just kept hearing him speak to me you need to surrender this. You need to surrender in your life. There's a lot of things that I have anxiety about at this time. And it's just give it to me and do your best and go for it. It's okay to go for it. And that, I have to be willing to lose and just go for it. Surrender your reputation on Facebook, surrender your finances, surrender, all of these things and just go for it and see where it takes me. So I made a mental note in my mind where I'm I'm not going to be scared anymore and I'm just going to freaking go for it. And part of what that means to me is and I read this somewhere else too, is I'm going to start acting like the person that I want to become in this business. I see all those elite coaches up there and I'm wow, they look so confident and they look they're speaking with authority. And it's I want to start acting like that because that's what I want to become. And so some things that I'm doing that are pushing me to go for it is I'm doing a sneak peek into challenge groups at the end of this week. And I've set a time. I'm okay, I'm going to do it at this time. And I'm going to post tomorrow saying the days that I'm going to do it. And that holds me accountable because I've already said on Facebook what days I'm doing that. I already said that one. Oh, and then when Melanie Mitro spoke, the #1 top coach of the year, she said something freaking amazing. She said, don't let a missed goal defeat you, set you back, make you give up, or make you change your goal. And I was wow. Yeah, because then you're still not going to make your goal because now you're really, really giving up. But she did say you do have to be willing to adapt in this business and change. Like me, I kept doing the same thing. And obviously, if I'm busting my butt and doing it every single day for 2 months and it's still not working, that's me. Yeah, it could be the market. Yeah, it's summer. People are on vacation. They don't feel they're oh, I'm going to be gone with family. I don't want to be on a diet. But there had to have been someone. So something that I've found that I think I was doing wrong is I was making things too impersonal in the messages I was sending. I was copying and pasting. I was straight up copying and pasting every single day. And that isn't what I did when I first started, and it wasn't working. People were seeing through it 100%, and it just looked like I was trying to sell them something. So I'm taking more time on being intentional about finding my market and really looking at a person's page before I message them so I can say, oh, hey, I saw you've been doing this. I do this too, blah, blah, blah. So it's not just hey, out of nowhere, how are you? Why are they messaging me? Why now? Where is this coming from? Kind of thing. So I'm going to start being more personal and putting the time in there. And then Melanie Mitchell also said hard work attracts hard workers. And that really spoke to me because I'm trying to attract the kind of coaches that are willing to put in the work. So I have to be an example. I have to be the hardest worker on my team, period. I have to set that example. If there's how can I expect them to work hard if I'm not working hard? That's not the kind of business this is. And even Carl was saying that, this isn't the business where you're just going to build it up and then sit there and go to Tahiti and sip a mixed drink. You have to lay out the example of how to work hard for your team. So yeah, I'm looking at my notes of things I wanted to say. Oh, and then Melanie Mitchell talked about a dream board. And obviously, we've all talked about our why and why are you doing this? Like, that's not foreign to any of us, I don't think. But just having that visual there, like, yeah, I have my why, like, in words on my fridge, and I look at it every time I open it, conveniently placed where I get food. But I want to, like, make a dream board that actually has, like, those visual pictures. And something that I kept thinking about this whole trip of, like, why do I want to make it big? Is it just for money? Is it, like, you know, why do I just helping people? But something I kept, like, envisioning, I kept seeing and thinking of, like, Danny and Sarah and how they get to be home, and you, Lisa, and how you guys all get to be home with your kids. And I love teaching, and I definitely think that God has called me to teach. But those young years are really, really short. And yeah, maybe I'll go back to teaching, like, later on. But when we do eventually start a family, I really want this business to be built up enough at that time for me to be able to stay home with my kids after, you know, I have them, so I can actually be there for them when they're babies and when they're toddlers and until they go to school. So that's, like, really, in, you know, who knows after that, I'll take it from there. But that, like, having that goal and that vision and making that dream board, that was really big. And then the last two things was I'm going to create a like page, because they were saying, like, everyone needs to have a like page. You have to have a like page because your warm market, like, I don't have that many friends, okay? Like, I'm not pitying myself. I'm not having, but, like, for real, you're going to run out of a market. You just are. So I'm going to start a like page so I can start tapping into the cold market and, like, transition myself into that. And then the last thing is that I took away, and this was in one of the workshops that I was in Hall D. So I was in a different hall than most of you. Only Danny and I were in Hall D. And one of them was talking about how you not only need to be a product of one product of Beachbody, but you need to try, like, a new program, like, every 30 to 60 days. Like, because not every, like, I did the 21-day fix. I had great results, and I have great before and after pictures from that. But not every single person out there is going to relate to the 21-day fix. And I keep telling myself, like, oh, but I'm afraid to try something different because I don't know if it'll work as well for me. But then why am I going to promote something different if I don't know if it's going to work? Like, how can I promote something different? So I'm going to be looking for, like, different programs to try so I can start sharing those things and hopefully, like, relate to a bigger market of people when I try different things. And that was really long. But that's it.
So Catherine just gave you, like, all of Summit for those.
Yeah, I basically just gave you, like, 5 hours and, like, 20 minutes.
I wanted to say that Facebook ads, you have to have a like page. So you're good with starting a like page. I have a really great training from Danielle Natoni on like pages, and one from Brigitte Linford. So make sure you watch those before you do it and invite everybody. You can get the information from me later. And then being more personal and leading from the front. Hallelujah, praise Jesus. That's amazing. Yes. You actually spoke to me when you were just talking about something that Melanie Metro said, and now I can't think of what it was.
The dream board?
No, I do dream boards every year. I call them vision boards, but they're the same thing.
The working hard part?
It was the quote that you shared, but now I can't remember.
The one, was it, don't let a missed goal?
Yes. Okay,
Yes.
so
You.
I just missed a goal. This is me being transparent with you, all of you guys. I just missed a goal. Danny was sitting next to me as I was basically cursing myself out at the opening celebration thing, because the way Summit falls, it falls in July every year. I signed up in June, but I missed, I think everybody knows that, my third month that I was a coach. Asher stopped sleeping, and I let myself miss Success Club that month. I just did not work the business much. I kept thinking, like, he's going to start sleeping, and he never did. And so I learned to work through it. But before that, I missed Success Club. So August was like my date for 1 year, 2 years, whatever, of hitting Success Club. So if you hit it for 12 months in a row, you're a Success Club All-Star. If you hit it for 2 years in a row, you are a Success Club All-Star Legend. And the legends get recognized, and they get all kinds of extra things. And I had Success Club 5 or higher, mostly 10, but 5 or higher every month for 23 months in a row. And I missed it last month, which would have been like my month, right? So
it's 9 o'clock.
It's 9 o'clock. That really, really like hurt. And I looked at Josh and I'm like, this blows, like I cried about it. I got over it. I moved on. I embraced the suck. If you went back to my Failing Forward call and listened to that, I embraced the suck. I learned from it. I moved on. However, sitting there at Summit, it was like another dagger through the heart. Like, ooh, let's just pour some salt in that wound a little bit, as one of my friends was getting recognized for All-Star Legend. And I wouldn't have been recognized because I would have needed, it would have been this month. But still, it still really, really hurt, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, this really blows. Like, this really sucks. Knowing that next year I would have been recognized, but I won't be. It really, really hurt. And I totally let it tell me, I let that missed goal tell me that there was no way I was going to hit elite this year. And as I was sitting in Summit, I think I put it in the WhatsApp group, but I looked at, I'm sitting there and I'm like, why am I telling myself that? Like, not that I'm giving up on you guys, but that I'm like, why am I telling myself that I can't raise enough leaders to become an elite team, that we can't raise up enough points, that we can't like do this, And I sat there and I was like, I still think that we can have 5 diamonds. To tell you the God's honest truth, I still didn't think that we would have enough elite points. I'm like, I have no idea that if we could do that. But I told myself, I was like, I still think that we can have 5 diamonds by the end of this year. Like, I believe it. And so I think I put it in the WhatsApp group and I'm like, okay, I'm still pushing for 5 diamonds. Like, who's going to do it? But just now, Catherine, that really inspired me and it stuck out to me. And I don't want to give up on that dream of us being an elite team this year just because of one missed goal. It was a big missed goal, but it's not the end of the world. Like, it doesn't define me. It doesn't define what kind of coach I am. It sucks, but it doesn't define who we are as a tribe and what kind of coach I am, or what it says about my leadership or leading from the front, because I try every month to lead from the front. And so, yeah, thank you for sharing that, though. I wanted to say that. Okay, we got to kind of move this along because I have 10 to 15 minutes of implementation ideas for you, and I don't want to be here all night. So somebody else said that they were going. Anna is going after Catherine. If you want to share your top takeaway, 1.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So mine's not too long. Basically, my biggest takeaway was to be myself and stop. Like, I think, especially in the beginning, I think I've been looking at like too many other people's pages or how they do stuff and trying to figure out if I'm doing it right. And I think by doing that, I've kind of discredited myself, and that I kind of got lost in that, not really knowing what to post. And so I've really, I already sat down and reevaluated, what are those top things that are important to me in my life? Like, what makes me Anna? What makes me Anna, not Sarah or Catherine or anyone else? And I'm really focusing in on those things every day and really being consistent about posting about those things instead of kind of all over the place. And another thing that I've really struggled with since working full time again is having my posts be consistent. And I had started a like-page a month or 2 ago, but I think I was really struggling to find my voice. But now I'm a lot more confident, and so I've
being very intentional to the point where, like, I sat down and planned out all my posts for the rest of this week, and I sat down today and I scheduled out like 2 or 3 posts today because I knew I was going to be at work till 8:30 tonight. So just kind of learning to like stop making excuses about like not having ideas to post about, and to just like embrace who I am and not really care what people think. Because the people who love me and whatever, who want to change, like, they'll follow me for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. No, that's really, really good. Finding your voice and being you is fantastic. The like page, that's one of the huge benefits. If you haven't started a like page already, one of the biggest things, especially if you're a full-time working person, is that you can schedule posts out. So it'll be 2 o'clock in the afternoon and you can schedule a post that'll go out at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, even though you're not there. So that's huge. Good job for you. I think being intentional about posting and your schedule, somebody else said it too about like scheduling out like posts and things that they wanted to talk about, and being held accountable by sharing it in the group. Like when you do those things, it kind of takes you from going with the flow to being a leader and being like in charge of your business. Like you're directing the path instead of letting the path kind of direct you. So Stacy, I think you wanted to share next.
Yep. Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A couple quotes that Mallory J did. She they had 2 kids and she lost her husband when she was supposed to be moving to meet him in California for their new house. And she said, God does not make mistakes. We are all here for a reason, meaning we're all coaching. We're all doing this. We're all doing life for a reason. And we aren't selling people challenge packs. We are potentially answering their prayers. So that kind of just get you out of the mentality that I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to say something or put this post out there because people think I'm just in it for the money. Just kind of helped change my mindset. And then I really liked Shailene's post. I'd heard it before, but you know, she's not like, you guys are not in sales. You are here to get people to change, to get them to change their lives. And you need to not sell, but share your story. You need to connect with people on an emotional level. And they'll get that if you're telling your true story of why you're doing this, how it has helped you. So they can be moved and they'll be more apt to say, okay, I can do this. If she can do this, I'm having the same struggles, then I can do it too. And then I think when we all went around at dinner with our why, I don't know, I was kind of crabby because I hadn't had any sleep and I had blisters on my toes. But I think that I did say financial, but somebody said something about, I don't know why, maybe the 100th time of hearing your why needs to make you cry actually stuck with me. And I was like, it's our debt. I try to be in charge of the finances, but my husband's not really good at sticking to my budget that I do and spend a lot of time on. So I'm just going to have to start making more money so I can pay off debt with my income. And I'm going to print out our credit scores, which is really hard. I'm going to just put it up everywhere. So finally having that, you know, that's going to motivate me and make me do this.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. Like I'm on the verge of tears. Goosebumps again, because that's vulnerability right there. Like printing out your credit score and posting it all over where you can see it. Like that's going to hold you to it. So kudos to you. Okay, does anybody else want to share anything before I go? We're good. Okay, reading the chat really fast. Okay, so here's what I have to say about implementation. And this has to do with, this is pretty much across the board for any time you go to a leadership event, a diamond retreat, a summit, a Super Saturday even. A lot of times I'll go to Super Saturday and be super inspired. They have keynote speakers, and depending on where you are, they may even have somebody from corporate or one of the super trainers as well there. And you're going to hear stories about lives that were changed. Coaches stand up and they share like their past. They share what's happened, not just physically, but emotionally, financially, all of those things as well. And if you allow yourself to be, you will be inspired. Like you're going to walk away and say, have mercy. Like how I truly do have the gold mine map in my hand. Like I have the map to the treasure. Like this could be somebody's answered prayer. I have it. And why am I not sharing it? Like, why am I not handing this out? And so here, one of two things happens. You either go, you get super duper inspired, you hear it, you take a bunch of notes and you're like, I'm going to do all of these things. You have your action list or whatever, you know, I'm going to do all this stuff. And then you go home and you get overwhelmed by it and you tell yourself like, I just need a day to rest. I'm really, really tired, or I need to let this process or marinate. And then you end up doing nothing because life happens and, you know, kids get sick or jobs change or school starts again. Like there's all these reasons as to why life gets busy and then you forget to implement them. It just happens. It happens when you listen to national wake-up calls and you're like, oh, that's such a great idea. And then you don't do it. And it's because if you don't implement it right away, it's not going to happen. And I don't want to be the one to like rain on your parade, but I do want to be the one to tell you and share truth with you. And that's truth. So one of two things happens, either that, or you make a plan. You carve out some time, whether you have it or not, you make it, you lose some sleep, I don't know, you make it happen somehow. You get up earlier, you do it during your lunch. I mean, whatever you can do, and you create a plan. And I'm not saying that this is the exact plan that you have to do. I'm saying that this is the method that was taught to me by Chalene Johnson. And I've heard it from several others that it's worked for them as well. And this is the way that I now do it. And it sounds like some of you guys are doing it as well. So here's what I do. When I go to a conference, I take a ton of notes. Pen and paper is the best way to do this. I probably should have shared it ahead of time, but I saw you guys all writing, so you guys did that. Pen and paper is the best way to do this. Pen, pencil, whatever. But actually writing it. There's science in it that you retain more when you're writing it than you do when you're typing it. So that's why writing things down, writing the quotes out that like speak to you, writing those things out. The pointer finger is connected to the brain. There you go, teacher tip. So you actually writing it out like somehow cements it somewhat into your brain. Now, all that being said, you guys got a ton of information thrown at you. Even if you didn't go to Summit and you're just now listening to all these takeaways, you just heard like 50 different things and you're like, have mercy, I can't take it all in. And you'll probably say, I'm going to go back and listen to this recording. Whether you will or not, again, that's going back to the first step. You either will or you won't. But it's too much to take in all at once. So we take notes. When you take notes, you're going to come across specific ideas or action steps. So many of you guys said I was driving and I just could not, like, there were all these ideas. There were things going through my head. And so if that's happening, I love that you guys took voice recording notes or did videos or whatever you did to help remind yourself, because dude, these things come to me when I'm in the shower. I need one of those pen pads that you can write in the shower. Have you seen them? They're magical. Anyway, because I do all my thinking in the shower. So I need one of those because they'll, like, literally an idea will come to me. And then by the time I get out of the shower and towel off, I'm like, man, I knew I thought of something really great. What was it? And I can't remember. So even though you have all of these notes, I mean, like, who has time to go through this many notes, right? No one. So hopefully you left some pages up at the front. I know I shared this tip in our Summit group, but left a couple pages up at the front with just to have a to-do list. Okay, like it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what it, I mean, this was my to-do list last year. ugh, it was go into the back office and do the quick start guide and then send it to Becca, because I had never done it before. Somebody said that, and I was like, oh, I should do that. And they said, even if you've been a coach for 3 years and you've never done it, do that. So I wrote it down. I was like, I need to do that, and then follow Allie Upham, because I really liked her. If you guys heard her, she was like one of the first ones to speak if you were in my hall. And she is incredible. She had dark hair. So I followed her on Facebook because to me, she was inspiring and I liked her. Coach online office trainings, 5-step invite process, like little things that they said. And I was like, oh, I need to do that. Like I haven't done it and I need to do that. So if you didn't make an action list, go like carve out time. You're going to have to carve out a little bit more because you need to go through all your notes, right? But carve out time to create an action list. Even if it's on a separate sheet of paper, you don't have to put it in the same notebook I did because I was doing it at the same time. But carve out some time to like make yourself an action list. Then once you have that action list, if you've already done it, fantastic. Look at that action list and you're going to look at yourself or look down the list and you're going to say, okay, how many of these can I do in 10 minutes or less? So like which ones can you do in 10 minutes or less? Follow Allie Upham. That was one of my very first things because I was like, I can find her on Facebook and do it really fast. Like, doesn't take me 10 minutes. So I made a list and those were my top things to do, right? It took me 10 minutes or less. I made a list of all of those. And then each time I had 10 minutes or less in my day, I would go and do one of those things. Does that make sense? Okay, so you're going to go down your list, find all the things that are 10 minutes or less. Now, if it's something like create a like page, that's going to take you more than 10 minutes. Yes, actually creating the like page will probably only take you like, I don't know, 3 minutes to like, say create like page. It's going to be public figure and then create a name. Like that doesn't take that long. However, to watch some trainings, to learn what you're actually doing, to learn Google Ads, to do all of that, it's going to take a lot longer than 10 minutes. So those projects, kind of do them in order of what's most important to you. So like if create your like page is something that's super important to you, put it up at the top of the list. And what you're going to do is you're going to break it into 10-minute chunks. So you're going to say, watch Danielle Natoni's training on like why you should have a like page. You can look it up, but I think it's like 30 minutes long. So you're going to say part 1, part 2, part 3. Now, great. If you have half an hour because you're driving somewhere and you can do it all at once, fantastic. But being able to like break it into bite-sized chunks makes it something that's easy to do so that you'll actually do it. And then you're going to say, okay, watch Birgitta Lemford's, and I think hers is only like 13 minutes. So you're just going to have that as one of your to-do lists. And then it's going to be like, create my like page. And then it's going to be like, post on there every day, or create, schedule. No. It's going to be something like, decide what kinds of posts I'm going to put on there. Okay, so that's just deciding can take you 10 minutes. Like, decide what kind of posts I'm going to share on my like page. Am I going to share recipes? Am I going to share fit tips? Am I going to share like my workout of the day? Am I going to share, workout clothes that I really love because I'm into fitness? Like what kind of stuff are you going to share on there? Okay. So that's another step. And then the next step is going to be like, schedule out so many posts every day, or for one day probably, because it's going to take you a little while to learn how to like schedule out posts and come up with some content. Or it could be like, look on Pinterest for ideas for content, like whatever it is, just break it down into get into the nitty gritty details of it and break it down. This is going to take you some time to break down every single thing on your action list into bite-sized chunks. However, when you do that, you can even say, I'm going to go live these days. Like you can have that kind of a plan in your head. But when you do that, it makes it so much easier to say, okay, I've got my power hour done. So check that big old thing off the list because I can't do anything until I get my power hour done. Then I have X, Y, and Z. Like seriously, this was my list for today. For today, it was Country Heat Group and I just wrote them, I brain dumped. And you can do the same thing every day if you want to. I brain dump. So like as they come to me, I write them in a list. And then if you really care enough to, you can sort them out into like how important they are. I can pretty much just go down the list and say, okay, that one's the most important, so I'm going to do it next. So I literally like come up with whatever is most important. So doing the sneak peek thing was really important because we need to start posting today. My challenge group started today, so I needed to set that up, and I hadn't already. Doing the banner was important, and it was quick for me, like because I already have the template set up. I can just change the words, and so boom, it's done. The calendar takes me a little bit longer, so it went down on the list. Welcoming a new coach went down on the list because it's not as pertinent, like time oriented. Does that make sense? So you can like move these 10-minute chunks, little projects around. And if you get to them in a day, great. If you don't, no big deal. Move them to the next day. Does that make sense? So you get your power hour done, and then you say, great, I have 30 minutes left. Or, you know, I'm going to carve out 20 minutes to do stuff right now. You start doing one project, and then if you only accomplish that one project, then great. Like you did something off your list and you moved forward. However, if you didn't, or if you accomplish that one thing, a lot of times, you know, we get that dopamine response. It's all about chemicals, guys. We're addicted to dopamine. Like it feels good to like and like scratch something through. Sometimes I write things on the list just so I can scratch through it. Like, oh, I washed dishes today, scratch, because it makes you feel good, right? And our bodies are addicted to those. Yeah, Allie, up them. So our bodies are addicted to that like dopamine response, and it makes us want to do more. So say you're like, oh, well, maybe I could do another 10-minute project, you know, so it makes you feel good and you start doing more. Whereas if you look at something like create a website, forget it. Like you're not gonna do it because you're like, where do I even start? It's too much work. I don't have 4 hours to like look at this today. So you won't do it. But having those 10-minute bite-sized chunks will help you guys to implement your plans, and one by one take off those action steps that you said that you wanted to do. And I think a lot of them you could get done, you know, even this week. And then some of them will be a little bit slower, but that's when the ordering comes into play. Like the most pressing ones up at the top, and then the least necessary down at the bottom. So I hope that was helpful. Does anybody have any questions as far as implementation? Was that helpful to people? Yeah? Okay. Anybody have any suggestions of what works best for them? Danny?
No, I was just going to say, I think it's because you said you were writing down the things we were saying so that you could hold us accountable.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really cool in 6 weeks for the same group to meet and to kind of check in to see where we are, make sure we're still doing the things we said we would.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. That's a good idea. So 6 weeks from today, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the 12th of September. That's on a Monday. Would you guys be okay on a Monday for the summit group to get together? We'll do our normal call on Sunday, and then we'll just have a summit group on Monday, get together and do that. Okay. So I'll write that down, and then, yeah, I mean, this isn't pretty, so I'm not going to share it with anybody, but I have them all written down. And then maybe we could share, you know, like what's worked best for us, where potentially where we're struggling, and then we can kind of help each other out with that. So September 12th, I said. And it'll be same time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 Central. I try to keep it the same time every time. I know it's not convenient for everyone, but moving around times makes it way too difficult. So awesome. Okay, I'll write that in my calendar. If anybody else has any questions, comments, now's your time. Okay, forever hold your peace. I will see you guys. Personally sponsored coaches, I will see you next Sunday. Everybody else in 2 weeks. Love you guys. Take care. Thanks for jumping on.